Hi everybody. Tonight I am going to start by baking a spaghetti squash, and there are 110 different ways to do this, I am pretty sure. For me personally, I don't like to use the microwave if I don't have to, and I also find that trying to cut these when they are uncooked is pretty tough. So for me, I'm going to bake this whole, and I suppose it might take a little bit longer, but it doesn't really matter to me at this point. I have enough time to spare, so I don't have to rush my process. So my little squash weighed in at 3.66 pounds. I'm going to pop it in the oven. They say normal is 425 degrees for an hour for a 4-pound squash. I'm going to go ahead and do it for an hour because sometimes I find that they're just a little bit tougher anyhow. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off because I don't need to be baking a sticker in the oven. And then I'm going to take my really sharp little knife here, and I am going to stab this little puppy about, I don't know, 10 or 12 times. And I'm not going to try to go all the way through, but I do want to make a pretty good puncture so that it doesn't explode while it's cooking. So, I don't know, half an inch or so. My blade went into about here. I guess if you can see that. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you'd like to do it a different way, feel free. A lot of people will take, I also roll it over too, by the way, when I'm poking it. A lot of people prefer to cut theirs in half first and then rub it with olive oil and salt and pepper or whatever other seasonings you would like. That is totally up to you. I just find it is easier for me to cut this thing open after it is much softer and easier to deal with. So I have now stabbed my little thing to death. I'm putting it on my cookie sheet. I'm going to put it in the oven for an hour, and then I'll be back and we'll do the next steps. Okay everybody, it has been an hour and about 10 minutes. I took it out at an hour, but I have been letting it sit because it has been talking to me for a little bit. And when I move this and cut it open, I would like it to not pop out anything at me. So I'm just going to move this over here for right now. There is a little bit of moisture and brown from it cooking. That's just part of it. Nothing wrong with that. If you see it, it's all good. Well, I am going to go ahead and at least cut it open, and then I'm going to let it cool down a little bit before I try to handle this because it is pretty roasty toasty. But if we just cut it down the middle now, just like you would if you were going to do it before you cooked it, but see how nice and easy that just slices right through for me. That is the reason I cut mine in half after it's cooked instead of before. I just don't like fighting my way through things if I don't have to. So, and I'm going to go ahead and cut the stem a little bit. And as you can see, it is pretty toasty. So we're going to let this sit for, I don't know, probably a minimum of 15 to 20 minutes because as you can see the steam rolling off right here, I am not in any hurry to burn my fingers. So I'm just going to hold back a little bit, and then I'll show you how to get the seeds and the stuff that we don't eat out, and then how to turn it into our spaghetti that we can utilize for other recipes. Okay everybody, I had some distractions along the way, but this has been sitting out for I don't know, probably about 30 minutes now. But it is still warm enough that even after I shred this, I'm not going to put it right in the fridge. I'm going to let it cool down. But I'm going to show you now. I'm just going to take the center of this and I'm going to scrape out the seeds and the stringy stuff. Just like if you were going to do a pumpkin, you don't want to eat the stringy stuff inside. You don't want to eat the seeds. I mean, I guess on the pumpkin you could roast the seeds. I've never roasted squash seeds, and I really suppose that you probably could do that as well. And yes, I know doing it this way, I am going to lose a little bit of my official spaghetti too, but I'm still okay with that. So I'm just flipping it over, coming to the other side. Making sure I get all of that out of there. It's amazing how long these things will hold their heat. It's been a little minute since I've done one of these, so I used to do it quite often when I was trying to eat more keto-ish and less carbs, because these fall into that line pretty well. Now the nice thing about this is also that you can store this for quite a bit of time, several days, and decide what you want to do with it unless you already have a recipe in mind. You can do some kind of an Alfredo. You can do regular spaghetti. I actually just like it just plain. Well, I say plain. I like just the squash by itself, and then sometimes I'll either add butter or I will add coconut oil to it and then some salt and pepper and just have it that way too. So now I'm just taking my fork and I'm just scooping out my insides, and here comes my spaghetti squash noodles now. And I will do this the same as I did the other, getting the insides out. Oh. There is some more. You can tell by the color of things, this darker stuff is not anything but the inside that I would prefer to not have in my noodles. So I'm going to scrape that part right back out. It probably tastes just the same and whatnot, but even the feel of it is just different than the regular part of the squash. And I definitely do have a little part that is a little more roasted. I probably should have remembered to turn my squash like halfway in between the cook cycles, and then we wouldn't have had the one side quite so brown. But it's not that big a deal. It actually just kind of adds a little flavor to the squash. I don't store my squash. I don't put anything on this when I put it in the fridge until I know what I'm cooking it for. I think it stays a little bit longer and a little bit fresher if you just leave it just plain squash. So any seasonings, butters, any of that, I will just leave until the end. So probably tomorrow I will come up with a mad plan for some of these noodles that I myself will enjoy, because this is not a vegetable that my son has learned to love yet. Although he does love a lot of them, including Brussels sprouts. Spaghetti squash is not one of his favorites yet. And that's okay. It just means there's more for me to eat and have some good fresh fiber and nutrition for. So that's all there is to that. I'm probably not going to worry about digging anything else out of here. And now I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. And like I said, I have a little bit of that brown in my squash, but it doesn't hurt it at all. Just adds a little bit of roasted flavor to it. And this is what it looks like. And then you get to decide what you're going to do with it next.